Abba Kyari owes Nigeria more than the USA. Our opinion piece this morning by Bimbo Adelakun of The Punch sinks the report of a suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari's alleged involvement in a drug ring hit the airways on Monday. The question of whether he'll be extradited to the United States of America to face justice for pending infractions has also resurfaced. About 9 months ago, the Federal Bureau of Investigation had declared Kyari wanted over his association with internet fraudster Ramon Abbas, also known as Hush Puppy. Kyari was alleged to have abused the instrument of the state entrusted to him by privately punishing Hush Puppy's criminal associate. Kyari was suspended from duty and is being investigated by a panel set up by the Inspector General of Police up till last month. These issues were still pending. As if those troubles were not enough, he's now been arrested for his activities in an international drug cartel. If being caught red-handed is personified, it will be the sting operation that nailed Kyari to the cross of his own indiscretion. For a man on suspension to confidently negotiate a bribe for a drug ring shows both hubris and overconfidence in his limited abilities. Meanwhile, given that much of the case the FBI used to nail Kyari was extracted from his WhatsApp conversations with Hush Puppy, it is almost funny that he still used the same medium to communicate with the NDLEA officer that got him apprehended. For a supposed super cop, Kyari seems pertinently incapable of introspection. All the while, his pending case with the FBI steamed, the spectre of his extradition loomed over him like a vindictive ghost. With his latest arrest, the question of whether he will be extradited has become even more topical. It does not help that some cynics think the drug offense came to create justifiable legal and administrative snaffles that will ultimately prevent him from being sent to the USA. These pessimists reasoned that if he is retained within Nigeria, his case would quietly go away like another of the 1 million corruption allegations of the country. It is hard to blame these conspiracists for such conjectures. Living in a country like Nigeria forces you to be cynical, otherwise you'll end up the dupe of an intricately spun web of systemic corruption. We must recall that long before the FBI apprehended him in connection to Hush Puppy, Kyari had been serially accused of instances of power abuse ranging from extortion to inordinate arrest. He had outstanding petitions against him, and they had never been properly addressed. The preponderance of his debts to the societies thus owed to Nigerians and its settlement to them deserves to be prioritized. His trial is a moral resolution we cannot afford to outsource to another nation, regardless of the viability of their legal system. Yes, the sight of Kyari in handcuffs and being shepherded into an airplane will be gratifying and maybe even cathartic. However, that is not what will constitute justice in this case. First, extraditing someone is not as simple as procuring their plane ticket. It is typically entails a legal process that could get protracted and exhausting, and overfocus on sending a rogue police officer out of the country would also detract from the necessary moral reckoning Nigeria needs to urgently confront. Second, a zealous insistence on extradition might ultimately provide a leeway for the institutions that Kyari represented to reduce the issue at stake to one man's malfeasance rather than tackle a dense network of corrupt bureaucrats and interagency scoundrels. They will package him as a scapegoat and deliver him to those who will take the mess off their hands. You only need to look at how Kyari landed in his latest travails to see a system run by ethically sold officers from the NDLEA's account of the sting operation that landed Kyari into soup. We saw how the man still confidently walked the beat from where he had been suspended. They still assess the institutional resources that allow him to interfere with the operations of government agencies. Also, the degree of confidence that pushed him to negotiate a bribe while being investigated could not have been a merely misplaced one. His impunity must have come from a certainty that his back was covered by people within the system who, due to their own involvement in the architecture of corruption would hold him up if he was exposed. Kyari's messy scandals culminate the years of corruption in public agencies. Considering the extended network of corruption across government agencies, it now makes sense why they promoted him into a superstar. As long as he accumulated accolades, he was their useful tool to deflect justice and ethical reckonings. Now that his bag of sins is overflowing, it should also be that focal point for redressing all the injustices he perpetrated against Nigerians, but overlooked over the years when he was properly accounted for what he owes us. They can ship him elsewhere to answer for his other crimes too. That's our editorial. Quite lengthy.
Well, lengthy, man. Longest you ever read here.
Yeah.
But I think it addresses the core of this issue about Abba Kyari, from his very recent past, his association with a hush puppy to this NDLA's thing, and perhaps what the future probably holds for this policeman. Again, divides opinion as to whether this was a soft landing for him to avoid extradition, or perhaps let him suffer for his crimes here, and then thereafter, I don't know how many years that will take, go to the US and face these scam allegations there. But whatever happens, I think people at the writing that piece, I was probably saying that he owes Nigerians too for a lot of his crimes. He's been investigated before. It's not the first time. People have said that when he was even SARS commander in Lagos here, commander of SARS here, people mysteriously disappear. People under his jurisdiction. I mean, he takes them, put them in cell, and never heard of them again. So that I think there's a lot this way on earth. If this is a real arrest, if it's not, like most people have been sending here, before we know, this will fizzle out.
Did you enjoy this video? Hit the subscribe button for more, leave a comment, and like. Thank you.